We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah, sorry. Well, we find ourselves in an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time. This time, Nash, this time. We ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well, counsel for the defense, you may proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Going inside the gaff, heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Alright. When you say the geezer, I presume you mean the victim and the proprietor of the shop, Mr. Winterbank. Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right. We was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. But we never thought no one was going to come out of the back room like that. Back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom. Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. And if Gina was holding him at gunpoint, why would he then be able to just come out and wrestle with one of these guys and throw them one of them over the counter? But yes, that means that Ginny must have been in there at that point as well. But that doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Winterbank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room alone when the brothers arrived? I don't know. Did you see the accused at the time? What, the Maltooler? Couldn't tell you. No way, Cobber. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. Alright then, so they thought they'd had it because he flew at them. You mentioned Mr. Winterbank shouted those words in your previous testimony too, however you claim you heard them yelling from the other side of the storeroom door. Did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Winterbank wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever? Blimey, lummy, a great ugly barrel he had, pointed straight at me frontispiece. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Winterbank with a gun at that time, is that right? It is, Gov, it is. Spot on. And all of a sudden he came at us, he did. It was bedlam. I don't know who was going for who. You were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, we thought we'd had it. I mean... For an old geezer who was strong as an ox, chucked me over the counter. Yes, I noted you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too. Well, yeah, of course we did. He knocked us over a load of books, the candlesticks, some skulls, whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette. We knocked over the picture frame, we knocked them over the scales on the floor. So in fact it was the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter? Or wasn't the sound? Well, Big Brother went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I can tell you. The old geezer pinned him. Or then the old geezer pinned him. He did, Nash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a blooming pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right. When the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Poor Mr. Winterbank, he did everything he could to protect his shop. I pulled my gun on him, and he legged it through the door back into the room. Oh. Hold it! Press that one. Were you intending to shoot Mr. Winterbank? No, never. I was just, you know, looking out for my bruv, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then the man fled into the storeroom where you pointed your gun at him, is that correct? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away, then he ran off through that door and shut himself in. Where did you say to put the New World details, by the way? If you go down to the fun stuff section on my Discord, there's a community game servers channel there. It's the first channel in the fun stuff section. So feel free to post any relevant details, a recruitment post, anything you want. You know, if there's a link to a website, if you've got one set up, or just the name of the guild, you know, whatever it is you've got, post it all in there. There's something about the last remark. Something doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Winterbank ran away into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Ah, yeah, that's right. But he came out with a gun as well. So Gina allegedly used Mr. Winterbank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Winterbank's hands again? I have no idea. But that is strange, isn't it? This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, the point is, me and Bruvia... That's right, Nash, that's right. Me and the Bruvia never had nothing to do with killing him.
Hold it!
You say you had nothing to do with it? Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was from the inside. We know it was because we tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong, wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused Miss Gina Lestrade. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could have possibly shot Mr. Winterbank? Well, there has to have been. I mean, come on. If not, then the trial's over. So... Hey, too, sir! How's it going? They literally have masked eyes and they're the villains. Off with their heads! That's it, to the tower with them! How's it going? Nice to see you. Alright, so let's have a look at the record. And the people. Who else could have possibly, other than Gina, have shot Mr. Winterbank? I mean, we've no evidence to suggest at all that Eggert Benedict was involved in this at this point. But these guys were working for someone. They said something about how the more they tell, the more that the other person, like he, will have our guts for garters. So they're hired muscle. That's all they are. Hired muscle. And I think it was Eggert Benedict they were working for. Or they just happened to pop in while Benedict was also trying to find the other disc, which may have fallen out of the coat. Good, playing Attack on Titan while relaxing. Oh, nice! Good game. Nash might be the only one there that could have shot him. The other one is too short. That's true, yeah. And we know there is a hatch door in the thing. They could have opened up and shot him. I mean, at this point, though, motive-wise, why would they have a motive to shoot him? Silence a witness, I guess. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. It did? What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Winterbank? And it's the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. But yeah, he's way too short. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to the plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what are the possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect of 2 conundrums. 2, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe? Yes, that's exactly it. That's a good way to think of it. 2 opportunities to amaze and dazzle. Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Runo? I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this map, show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. I believe from here, actually, because we know there's a hatch in the door. I'm coming back to that theory. Because otherwise, if somebody was in here with them, then they would have had to leave, unlock the door. They wouldn't have been able to lock it again from the outside. I don't think the hatch would give anybody access to the lock.
Take that!
The defense believes the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. An answer to the second question. Assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time? He was here.
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. I like how he's just giving us a chance. He thinks he's giving us rope to hang ourselves with, but you watch, Fenzikes. Mr. Winterbank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. He would have had his back to the door, actually. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you're adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled a gun on him, and then he legged it through the door into the back room. If Mr. Winterbank ran away through that door, we have to assume the door was open at the time. Ah! It was at precisely that moment, when the victim was fleeing for his life, that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was in the storeroom. Ah! Okay, so that's the route we're going. That'll probably get them really, really talking, because now they're facing potential murder charges. Attack on Titan is good, super satisfying when you get a chain of good hits, playing number 2 at the moment, actually. Nice. I liked the anime. That was good. So I can imagine that the whole, you know, like game mechanic of that kind of thing would be fun to play. Alright. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? See, there he is with his cape on. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Well, the little dude is, but he flew over the counter, so he couldn't have done it. Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. Ah, hence the diagonal trajectory. Oh, that's clever. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered the body in an upward trajectory, relatively speaking. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Winterbank. That's it, yeah, the little dude couldn't have shot him. Because he'd gone over the countertop anyway, and it's the big guy who pulled the gun then. And that's the gun they then turned around and shot Mr. Sholmes with when we entered. I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten, but the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot and he fled into the room. You also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock. Ah, but... what if someone else locked the door? Gina. There is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom, in which case, who shut and locked the door from the inside?
Take that!
Gina. Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person in the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered and sealed the room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I'm inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel? Well, I mean, to stop them getting shot. Protection. It's not a tricky one. She shut the door. She didn't lock herself in there thinking, and then I can be the one who's on trial for murder. At the time, she'd be thinking, I need to stop these bad guys from following Mr. Winterbank into this room and shooting me as well. That's a tricky one, isn't it? Half-baked notions have no place in my court, counsel. Please remember that. But of course, Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does. Well, if it was Ginny in that if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Winterbank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point Mr. Winterbank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Bang! Hit in the back by a bullet, Mr. Winterbank fell onto the floor where he was just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Winterbank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slams the door and shut and she locked it. In order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But, I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on. We never shot no one. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my very own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Yeah, that shut you up. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Winterbank's murder. Ah! Well, where does this leave us? You mean to say it was the pickpockets who shot the pawnbroker after all? I should have known it was those three brothers. They look shady as a dense forest, the three brothers. Leave Gregson out of this, damn it. He's a copper. He's there, he's escorting them because they're already under arrest. They're in his custody, that's why he's there. That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know, first time ever, and probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not. Oh no. An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing. You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zykes? I myself find the defense's arguments most persuasive. I dare say, such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatant malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here. What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing? I say, Lord Van Zykes, what might be an idea to explain this bally conjuring trick, whatever it is, to the troops of the ground, The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets? Oh dear. He noticed then. Huh? What's everybody talking about? Counsel. Yes, sir. Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime. Two bullets. Yeah, and in our hypothesis, only one was fired. In this scenario, Windybank's gun is never fired. Although the second one was Sholmes as well. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back and ended his life, and the second which struck the detective Mr. Herlock Sholmes on his arrival at the scene. Indeed, the defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are two firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulking Brothers' revolver, but both were only fired once. That's the big problem. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these two brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find, if that's the single bullet that was fired from the brother's gun that hit Mr. Sholmes, it means Windybank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only one bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, the Snippany street performers presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hopes of standing up to scrutiny. Ugh. Whoops. We got a little carried away with that theory. Order! Order! What a waste. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zykes? But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can regrettably no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with a criminal record. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with a loathsome intent. As we can see, beyond doubt, with this print which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. So when you read out Windybank, reminded of Wendy Oldbag and expecting her ancestor to pop up and simp over Zykes? Yes. Good old Oldbag. Oh my god. Ah, Wendy Oldbag. Yeah, we need an Oldbag in this series. It's lacking an Oldbag. I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. The disc. I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGildred's down to the yard, thank you very much. No, don't give it to him. It's mine. That is, it's mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGildred has to be taken as evidence now. Yeah, that was earlier. That was before Windybank was shot. That was in the overcoat that she claimed. Gregson walked in just as Eggert Benedict was threatening us with a gun to take the disc and the coat. Yes, that music box disc, McGildred's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windybank, the accused attempted to make off with this article which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious. Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if punished. No crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel. As a grim... What? Lord Van Zykes, Inspector Gregson? What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and I think it was agreed that the disc wouldn't be used as evidence. It's like, I didn't make that agreement. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? And they did have a very big case. That they had some kind of political shit that was going on. So that must mean that this old McGildred trial was part of it, because that must have been the meeting. And they know this is linked. That's the first time he's said anything to Van Zykes at all. I am unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government's bigwigs were insistent. He's like, so? I don't give a shit. Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. I really like Van Zykes, though. He's pretty cool. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed. Bailiff? We now have a blood sample. The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. There is nothing more to add. Good. Okay, let me look at this new piece of evidence then. So we know that's for McGildred. This was in the coat that Gina tried to redeem at Windybanks the day before the shooting. That's the man you defended in court a couple of months ago, isn't it, Runo? Yes, or rather mistakenly defended. I wonder what his name is doing on the back of the disc. That's a question I'd love to know the answer to myself. Yeah, because the coat that Gina came to redeem was actually McGildred's coat that he was wearing during the supposed stabbing of the brickmaker in the omnibus. And he gave Gina the coat. And it must have, and this was in the pocket. and it said go run and take it to a pawnbroker's. Oh no, no, it was the cabbie that he got to go do that. Then he let Gina run away. He did that so the cabbie would bugger off, and then he let Gina run away as a favor, but he said later, you know, I'm going to leave a pawnbroker's ticket in that bush over there, come back tomorrow and pick it up, and then hang on to it for me. So that's how she ended up with the ticket. She kept the ticket after McGilda died and decided with a day left, I might as well go and redeem that. Because, you know. How she knew the password, though, is another question. Oh, Runo, look! This is blood. Yes, you're right. It's just a smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. We know that Egbert Benedict, when he was fighting over this with Gina, he cut his finger on the disc, hence the blood. That's his blood. I really want to know if it matches the blood on the calendar. Ha, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with the disc, Runo. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash. It's gonna go green. Gonna go green. Yo! So a theory I presented a long while ago is starting to really take shape now. The blood on the calendar and the bullet are from Egbert Benedict. He was there too. I love the bright shade again. Wait, that colour. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that colour, is it? So now we know that's not Sholmes's blood. So if we go back and have a look at our blood sample portfolio, there it is. It's just unknown still. Because, you know, Ryu is slow. He's slower than me. He hasn't figured it out yet. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, for all of 5 minutes. Oh dear. It wasn't even for 5 minutes, Runo. My lord, I wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about a bit in the fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden, the answer's bally obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it. Here we go again. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
Of course, of course.
Guilty.
Of course.
Guilty.
Really? Of
Guilty.
course. Yes.
Guilty.
Right, whatever. You all suck. I will take you apart again if I have to. We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. Not for long! When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare he use it against us? Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to the case than we realize. There must be, because there's only one thing I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. I haven't even invoked it, and he's just like, we're going to do this, aren't we? Let's just get it over with. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Garrideb squad is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. Again. Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say. different breeds to us law-abiding citizens. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was a pickpocket. I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. I am ballistic expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. It would seem there is little remaining room for doubt. I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd be jolly well hoodwinked. Well, no more. The whole courtroom is turning against me. It's not fair. Iris, that prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny done something she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer. Allow me to savour this fruity vintage while I savour the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out eventually. That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Here we go. Alright, so once a rogue, always a rogue. Really? Tell me more. Tell me this fantastic theory of yours. Just because Miss Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder, is that what you're saying? Well... Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes. Might have a point there, I suppose. But let's not forget the girl had already shown she'd had it in her from the beginning. She's clearly a criminal sort through and through, can't deny it. When you say she'd shown she had it in her, you're referring to this? Exactly! Tried to swipe that only a day earlier, Or am I mistaken? Not exactly. Given that I was actually there in that time, it's hard to refute that. I've never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh yes, of course. Yes, because before Sholmes handed it over to the detective, he had 2 bars of this, like, caramel thing that he's got, and he just squished it into them to make an impression. And then he's fabricated a duplicate. Mr. Sholmes did use the caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, and he ordered every type of music box he could find from across Europe. Because it would be different for different boxes. There's no standardized design to the layout of the comb. We still don't know what tune it plays though, do we? I'm telling you, it's a tune that's going to open a portal to hell. I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. McGilded's disc, could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. I'm way ahead of you, game. Only 2 bullets at the scene would say the case is done and dusted. It's the number of bullets that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired seem to have been examined by the police. When the parlour-maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. That's logical. Although, yes, sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose. If there was another bullet somewhere which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position. Sorry I have to disappear, customer service is a miserable job. Oh, I feel you too, sir. Yep. Thanks for hanging out though, it's always good to see you and catch up. I really hope one day I can catch some of your streams again. When I'm in Canada, on a different time zone. I'm looking forward to that immensely. Until then, take care. Have a good day, dude. Always a pleasure to see you. A third bullet somewhere on the scene. Could that be possible? We can't prove it yet. Let's say it's impossible for now, and then let's go through all of these jurors and see what else we can work out. Something might crop up, like it did last time. We had to do one contest before we got the evidence for the other guy. Unfortunately, only 2 bullets were discovered by the police during the investigation. Yes, I know. Right. And I don't imagine the good men of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office, well... I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And he should receive a visit from the police, perhaps. It sounds like a crime scene to me. Been hanging out all day, just not been able to chat. Oh, that's fine. I appreciate the look. Thank you. And you're back, just got back from something. Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. I thought you meant you were having to disappear now. Sorry, I misread that. Well, welcome back. And I appreciate your lurking. A third bullet. It would completely turn things around if there was one, wasn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere? You need a stereoscope to see the truth here. It was the pickpocket. So if I've understood correctly, you need 2 pictures. A left eye and a slightly different right eye? Exactly! Then you can see the scene in 3 dimensions. Like this. So if we have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can see anything useful with them? I think you'll find, no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. The only person who could have shot the victim is the girl in the dock. How can you be so sure of that? Think about it. The Skulkin brothers shot the great detective, didn't they? Yes, that's been mentioned once or twice. Well then, surely it's coming into focus now, isn't it? This is a waste of time. I'm not going to change the man's mind anytime soon. Right, hopefully this guy's going to lead us to the fact that he was operating on Sholmes. And that he took the bullet out. And then we can use this on the maid. It's the only other thing I think we're going for. Would you please stop muttering about the things that have nothing to do with the trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here. Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it's nothing to do with this trial, to be honest. Well, I mean, there's no question the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think? Wait, what? I almost don't want to ask, but the surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on... What was the fellow's name now? Hairlich? No, Hairlock? No, Hairlock. Hairlock Sholmes by any chance? Yes, good lord. It was that Hairlock fellow. What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes. That's right. Using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you. This is crazy. Let me see, the fellow was brought in not long after the midnight, if I remember correct. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw my hands up and just stitch the fellow back up. Wow. Hate to state the obvious, but yes. Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting? The counsel for the defense is correct. As is clearly shown in the photographic print, the bullet the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region and then exited his body and lodged in the shop wall where the calendar was hanging by the door. I think you'll find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem 3-dimensionally. Ha! Who do you think I am, son? Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do. As soon as I saw the wound in the man's stomach, I flipped him over. Like a pancake? Just get a gigantic, scoop and just whoop, flip. Are you saying you checked his back? Of course I did, and there wasn't a trace of an injury, no sign the bullet had left the body at all. What? That's the point. The only logical conclusion is that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards, which is exactly why I set about slicing him up. I'm still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Somebody please solve the mystery. It was an ice bullet. Or it was a bullet made out of frozen meat. It's almost as much of a mystery as to how the jury was put together. The mystery of where the bullet ended up is infuriating. Where's an expert when you need one? Oh! Juror number 6. Let's press this one, and then I think we use him with Juror 6 first. Mr. Sholmes, a surgeon, is on the jury. I've experienced some coincidence recently, but this is ridiculous. I'm as surprised as anyone. But there's no question that Mr. Sholmes was shot. Well, that's what the police told me when they brought him in. How bad were the injuries, Doctor? Blood Knight! Hello!
Fear not, the blood is here with lots of love and hugs for all, Tilda.
Dude, thank you so much for a tier 3 resub. We've had 3 resubs today. Guys, you're all awesome. I appreciate that support. 11 months. We're 1 month away from a year. How are you doing, Blood Knight? Nice to see you. Come on in, settle down. Well, he was in a bad way. He'd lost a huge amount of blood, you know. And I suspect he was shot at quite close range too, because his skin was badly burned around the point of the entry. Burnt? As I said, I flipped the fellow over and examined his back. There was no sign of an exit wound, which is why I thought I'd better locate the lug and pop it out. And yet you say you found no bullet inside the patient. Well, I wouldn't have done, would I? Because it's in the wall of the pawnbrokers. But how'd it get there? I need someone to solve the mystery before it drives me to insanity. If only there was some expert in ballistics who could help, even if he looked extremely untrustworthy. We're really laying it on thick. Decent today? That's awesome, I'm glad to hear it. How are you? I'm not bad. I'm better than yesterday. I was really tired, but I'm good now, so all good. My throat's about to die though, so once we've finished this examination, we are going to leave. Because I'm going to need to go and get a hot drink and soothe my throat. So we have a disappearing bullet on our hands. The accused attempted theft on the previous day. Alright, let's press with her. What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forgot to say, stop. Do excuse me, stop. I am a communications officer, stop, we gathered. Communications officer, does that have something to do with sending telegrams? Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest news in the capital. I convert the messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically. To the entire world? Thousands of miles of cable under the sea, stop. Worldwide communication network, stop. Information transmitted from all corners of the globe, stop. Yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves like before, wasn't she? I specialize in communicating information from government departments and newspaper officers. I see. I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine. Let's finish the trial first, shall we? So she's got nothing at all to do with this, but this guy's a ballistic expert. I see many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. Alright then. I thought you were just a tourist. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a ballistics expert on tourists. Come on. Here we go again. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. ¿Dónde está biblioteca? There is no way he's visiting as a tourist. So you're a ballistics expert? Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Ah, he is from Russia. Come on. I lived through many, how you say, extreme violent bath of, blood of, an extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps? Ah, those! Extreme violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, ask me. There is nothing I do not know, no mystery I cannot solve. Very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But if possible, please, only in the Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he? No, still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. The Van Zaks has managed to convince everybody. When you've eliminated the impossible, he said, but he hasn't. We're going to fight back, we need more material, and we have to fight back. We have to turn the trial around again. Alright, so we now know this guy operated on Herlock Sholmes after he was shot, but the bullet wasn't inside of him, but there was no exit wound, and yet we have a bullet lodged in the wall near where Herlock Sholmes was shot, but the blood matches that of, well, we believe, Mr. Eggert Benedict from the day before. Because it's also on the disc that we've now confiscated. He cut his finger on one of the impressions on the disc and left a smear, and we tested that. We've got a test of the blood at the crime scene as well, around the bullet hole in the calendar, which we assumed was the one that shot Herlock Sholmes. But obviously not. That bullet clearly struck Mr. Eggert Benedict. So we're going to pit this guy, who wants to know the mystery of where the bullet went, with the ballistics expert.
Objection!
These two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Oh, a ballistics expert. Pitting. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers, but since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Villain. Pleased to meet you. This apparent contradiction in the facts is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. I like the music change. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly. The snow was piling high on both sides of road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles, and they were on dog sleds. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and fell in snow. And the situation was very similar to what I hear today from doctors. They could not find a bullet in my body, and no sign of, how you say, exit wound. Well then, where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece of very sharp broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looked like bullet wound. Good gracious. The lamp. The broken lamp, guys. They shot the guy. The broken lamp was in the way, because they would have been on the other side of the countertop, because they were trying to get into the back room. Boom, shot. Didn't realise the lamp was in the way because it was probably off and it was dark. The bullet deflected away, and a piece of glass went into Sholmes instead. But look at that ice bullet! Of course, a piece of ice quickly melted inside of me, and that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet. But that doesn't answer this question at all. The shooting happened in a pawnbroker's shop, not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. Bruno, where exactly was Hurley shot again? According to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. Okay, so, oh, glass files? It's where he keeps glass files. Very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Really? Doctor, where is the pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may, Lord Van Zykes, while I realise it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination, I should inform the defence that I have that pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived at the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Ah, thank goodness. Thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution present the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes's pouch. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes at the night in question, is it? Look at that, one of the files is broken. And the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded. Exploded? That night, the bullet from the Skulkin Brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch. And it was the glass file exploding that caused the fellow's injury? This bullet did not penetrate the victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. Okay, so that doesn't quite go the way we want to go. Yeah, a delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least, though it has no bearing on the truth of the case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. Ugh. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Da, thank you very much. Glad I could help. Bugger. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester this scruffy pouch as evidence. Well, this pouch isn't scruffy. Now the summation examination. It would appear the defence is somewhat struggling to alter the opinions, Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence, so it could be a valuable clue, and you can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryu. There's still a way to turn it around somehow, I'm sure of it. But let's have a look at this pouch. The bullet's still in there. Hey! Looky here. It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look. Must be where the bullet hit it then. Let me see. What? What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was, you see it? Ah, that's the Skulkin Brothers bullet. What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. It's an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windybanks that night, which means we know another gun was involved. We found exactly what the juror was talking about, the 3rd bullet. It's time to press that juror again, I think. Alright, so that would be juror number 2. Maybe. Only 2 bullets were found at the scene. I would say the whole case is done and dusted. Press. It's the number of bullets that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired and 2 guns have been examined by the police. Blah, 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 blah. Alright. But let's just get to the point where We have to present this now. There we go. If there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position. So now we can prove it. We couldn't earlier, but we can now. Allow me to show you then the third bullet.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windibank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired. What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes's pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes's waist before he was taken to hospital. Since then it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulking brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired from Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in the photographic print. Ah! 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted to the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windibank and that belonging to the Skulking brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only once a single bullet has been fired from each. Ah. But that must mean... That's right. We know on the night in question 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the scene, and until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Ugh. Ah! And 6, there's a 3rd gun. Because this is the thing now, we need to know who shot who. We know now that the Skulking brothers' gun, they said they fired, that hit Herlock Sholmes. We know there's a bullet lodged in the wall that came from another gun. And we know that there's a shot in the back of the victim. That leaves only 1 gun that we've got to explain those 2 bullets, and one of them only had 1 bullet in it to begin it with. It. The pawnbroker's gun only had 1 bullet to begin with. And it's spent. So which one of these 2 bullets did that came from that gun? Right, that's what we need to figure out now. While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter! What? Bailiff! Bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Oh damn, we going for more. Reset the scales! Nice. Witnesses? Governor? Were you listening to the proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A 3rd bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of nothing. Is it one of yours? God blimey, Gov. God blimey, not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? Hey, what? Never! The Skulking brothers work alone. It's just the 2 of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The 3rd bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Oh, lummy, that's an head scratcher. Counsel for the defense? Yes? I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The 3rd bullet and the mysterious missing firearm, from whence it came. Thinking back over the testimony we've heard and the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this 3rd bullet tells us about the Skulking brothers. Are they lying about having an accomplice? I mean, I'm pretty sure earlier on, when they were talking about the struggle, when Windibank came out of the back room, they said he had a gun, and he struggled with them, and they both drew guns. And I think they said that he disarmed one of them and threw them over the thing, right? Over the counter. I don't know. Would it be anything to nothing to do with them at all? I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with them. But they did mention that somebody would have their guts for garters if they talk too much. But maybe they were meant to just go and steal something. And that person wasn't there. Let's go with the accomplice theory. There must be someone else involved. On that night at Winterback's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice, but the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present carrying a gun.
Objection!
An accomplice, you say? Pigswill. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. 1.5. I wasn't done with the second one, thank you. Yet in all that time there has been not a murmur of a third man, if this apparently wraith-like being exists. The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The blood. The blood around the calendar is the hard evidence. Whose is that? It's not Sholmes's. Because that bullet we found, but another bullet was fired at the calendar, meaning someone else in there got shot at. The prosecution demands answered on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, that the identity of this spurious character. Here we go. The Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? Well, counsel, I'm supposed to prove the existence of an accomplice and reveal the person's identity, even in response to the prosecution's demands, my lord. The defense is ready to present answers. Let's just go with my theory. The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now, there's no other option. Use every single piece of evidence available to me as if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would like you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene? Well, where would it be? It would actually be in the evidence portfolio, right? In the blood samples. This one. There is blood there. I'm just wondering if there's anything more direct.
Take that!
The evidence is right here in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? The portfolio? No! You expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of these blood samples proves the presence of a third intruder. Well, which one is it? That one right there.
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That is a bloodstain, my lord. It's a Vulcan bloodstain. A bloodstain? Green blood. Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some inhuman creature? It is something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the great detective. New invention, stop. Not yet appeared in stories, stop. This is it, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood and changes its colour. Different elements? Of people's blood? Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what colour it changes, you can tell who's, in a flash, whose blood it is. Ooh, that brings a whole new extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom, stop. Very exciting, stop. This is an example of one that shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windibank. Ah, a striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green colour of this bloodstain on the calendar shows that someone else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now hold fire there, young man. Could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windibank was killed, by golly. Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot the same day. Then whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from a gunshot injury. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else, the third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is the alleged third intruder? Benedict.
Take that!
The man's name is Eggert Benedict. Eggert Benedict? Who on the earth are you talking about, counsel? He paid a visit to Windibank's pawnbroker on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing the article in her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Yeah, what a name, right? How's it going, Yuri? Nice to see you. Broker? Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pickpocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs too. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windibank for a print to show the fellow. Oh wow, he was there bang on one of the half hours. You know me, I lurk and pop at random times. Oh yes, and I appreciate the lurks, thank you. Taken from one of his red-handed recorders, Gubbinses. That's him talking to Windibank that morning. And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice. Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin? Oh yeah, they're sheepish as fuck. I've never seen the geezer before in my life. On my life, Gov, on my life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence. I agree, we must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. It's the disc. The blood test is the same, they've got the same blood as on the calendar and on the disc. And we know that the blood is his on the disc because he cut his hand on it. This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling about that something has been missing in this trial from the very start, but now I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Are you ready to present your answers to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet.
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted to deceitfully admittedly reclaim a disc from Mr. Winterbank. Which is when the aforementioned Edgar Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. The man was then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following that this minor incident occurred. But of course, here's the disc for you. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc. It's mine. Then she's like, give. Ah, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions on its surface. These protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. Goodness, a blood stain, is it? My assistant and I have just analysed the blood here in this very courtroom, using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we've added the results to the portfolio. I say, it's green! It's exactly the same colour as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Edgar Benedict, who was at Winterbanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that night. There was someone else there. Look at the two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Oi, what are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defence that Mr. Edgar Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence. This has gone on long enough now. This is flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. A protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some such. No, Iris, down. Do not smash. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court of the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. But the bloodstain turned a shade of green, what of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same colour. Well, that has worried me. It's like, shit, okay, legs upon the counter. And pray do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction a load of drivel? I don't know. He is a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that. Persona? Yes. Not that kind. I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognised by an official body, but what other choice do I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. In other words, we can continue. The examination isn't over yet, is it? Oh, good grief. What did you just say, young girl? And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? Wow, she's schooling the dude. So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least not for now. Yes, she's right. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. Yes, she does. She's trouble. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. After that shrewd precis of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, It must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings on the matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
Ooh.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Oh! Wow, okay. So we're 4-2 in our favour again. 2 call guilty, 4 not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination. My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? If these jurors were persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. The court disagrees, dude. That's the system. We put the peers up there as a jury for a reason, to give the human verdict. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zykes, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. The trial will continue. Get wrecked, boy! Yes! Oh! Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. Really? It's false? Just when we managed to prove the man was out there at that night. Could I say something? Who was that, please? Who spoke? It was me, my lord. Juror number 5. What have you to say, madam? If possible, Inspector. Me, madam? I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again, the one with the gentleman is shown. Let me guess. Oh, that's my husband. Oh, yes, right. This one you mean, of Mr. Benedict? Yes, there's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say you know this man? Yes, I know him. What? Oh, good gracious! Order! Order! Juror number 5, how on earth? I am a communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is... Stop. Also a communications officer. Stop. He works in my office. Stop. She blushed as well. She's like, oh no. A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph. Stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. I suppose we all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day. Whatever he gets up to at night, I suppose it is. That's why I felt something was wrong. If the gentleman is at the London communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zykes, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste. As your lordship bids. Oh, he's pissed. We're not getting a Christmas card from Zykes, are we? The court will recess for 1 hour. When a new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson. Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about the events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40. Nice. Right. Guys, we're 20 minutes overdue.